What's going on, everyone? Matt here, and welcome to our On the Road to Baki update number 10.
These are not spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers.
So for this update, I've introduced a couple of things. We've changed our format just a little bit, mostly because we are now working on a different type of set of skills that still have the same theme that we've been doing for this last little bit. So getting right into it, first thing we got is technique. So again, we've moved away from doing a simple push 1-2 punch, and we've now changed it up to where we're now doing a step through with a jab. And basically what this is the fighting version of a basic technique that you'll typically see in traditional martial arts, where they go up and down the floor, where they have the same foot, same hand forward, and they just take a step and then step and punch. We are now doing the fighting version of that, stepping forward and basically doing the exact same thing, but now it's actually applicable in a real situation. And with this one, we are doing a total of 100 reps, 50 on each side. And at each 20 reps, I am making sure that I'm either concentrating on something very specific with the movement or adding something on top of what I did previously in order to make the overall movement and technique better. After that, we then have our reverse punches, to where one of the things I was having problems with is when I do the technique correctly at speed with correct structure, I want to make sure that when I'm with training partners or people that are lower skilled or lower leveled or even just smaller or younger than me, I can still work on doing very good technique at my speed without unnecessarily hurting my partner. I have certain partners where I can hit harder, but there are some that I have to hit lighter, but I don't want to change my technique because of that. So one of the things I've been going is going up to my bag, and I'm doing certain reps where I do the entire full motion, boom, arm going all the way straight, applying as much energy to the bag as possible, and then taking that feedback that I feel through my body and just lightly pulling that power as I hit the bag, while still maintaining good structure, as well as keeping my speed the same, which if anybody has not ever tried to do that, I promise you, it's a lot harder than you think. If you don't think so, try to go spar somebody at full speed with correct technique and see if you don't wind up hitting the person slightly harder than you really mean to. So as instructors, this is something that's really important that we need to be able to do, and I'm just making sure this skill is even higher level so that I can keep growing and getting better myself. So for kicks, remember, we're mostly doing round kicks and hook kicks. Hook kicks are mostly in there to help keep my hips and stuff open, nice and loose.
Gay!
And it's just as a measurement tool. We're not really working so much on that, trying to get like really big power or anything like that. It's mostly just helping stretch out the hip. But the round kicks, we are now doing them in the form of the last part of a combo or combination technique. So of the two versions that I'm doing, I either have where I'm lunging out into a long jab, and then from there pulling my front foot back in my body and kicking with a rear leg round kick. And the second one is where I step out throwing a rear hand, and then I am taking my back foot, pulling it up to me, and at the same time pulling my hand back and then throwing a front leg round kick. In both of these, some of the things that I'm making sure of is, one, I'm putting myself purposely on the very outside range of my technique. This is to try to kind of simulate that my opponent has shifted back some, gaining distance to make sure that I don't hit them. And then when I go to do the kicking technique, I am making sure that I am pulling back or disengaging if I have to, especially for the rear leg round kick. I want to pull back to disengage a little bit and then come in with my round kick, mostly because sometimes people only move back once, but also because my bag is not moving back in and of itself. I could simulate that to where I could just start further back, throw out my punch, not be touching the bag, and then throw my rear leg, but that's not really the skill that I'm working on right now. For the reverse punch version, I'm making sure that when I bring my back leg up, in order to do this kick, I don't want to pull myself forward with nothing going on besides just having a guard up. So I'm just bringing my back foot up underneath me without changing my distance, and now my guard is up a little bit better. So I could technically push back if I really need to, if I didn't see a good opportunity. Next up that we got is exercises. So for exercises, I've kind of gone back to what I did a little bit earlier within this series, and that now I'm going back to weights. And I feel like that I've gotten in a position, especially after that nasty funk from earlier this year, that I can comfortably start doing weights again. And it's very simple weights, nothing too strenuous. I'm literally just doing a standing shoulder press and then a fast deadlift with not too much weight right now. And so far, because I only have one bar and I want to try to get this workout done quick, I'm mostly using the same weight for the shoulder press and the deadlift as well. And I'm probably getting close to about the limit of how much I can do a standing shoulder press without having to compromise on something, without turning into a push press or some kind of jerking motion, which that's currently not what I want to work on. So either within this update or after the next one, probably closer to the end this year, honestly, I'll wind up buying a trap bar, this one particularly, that I do believe will help me tremendously. One, because I'll now have two bars or two things to put weights on, one for deadlift and then one for my shoulder presses, and eventually those will be turning into power cleans and then possibly shoulder presses as well. That way I'm not having to constantly swap weights back and forth or take plates on and off. Again, one of the things that I'm also doing is the iron fist stuff, where we're working on the muscles within our forearms. And the things that I'm using for that is some grip master stuff, some alpha grips, extensor trainers, and also sword work here. Now, I actually have 4 different types of swords that I'm using for the sword work. They're all either different weights or they have different point of balances. That way I am making myself have to get used to the way that they interact with my arms. And when you have a really, really good or long or hard training session swinging a sword, especially one-handed, you really get a whole lot of strain and work on the top part of your forearm here that you really gotta be careful to not overwork. It's very, very easy at the time, and then for the next 2 days, you'll wonder on why it just hurts so much. But as part of that, to help keep you up to date on how that grip stuff is going, I have my grip thing here, and we'll just do a very basic base average of 3 on both sides. And I'll kind of take my time this time, make sure it's good. We got a 139.6. That's my highest yet. Holy crap. That's just like 4 months of work. Let's see if we can get a good average. Ooh. That was a 130.8, so that was maybe a fluke. It's very particular like on how you kind of grab this, and you want to make sure that you're consistent. One more time. Ooh. And that's a 125. I could feel my hand slipping on that one. Okay, so let's go left. Oh, that hurt. That was a 113. Ow. 120, so it's really dependent on where you kind of have your fingers on how well this does. Last one. And 119.8. So for both of those, I'm pretty sure the average has most definitely gone up. I'll put what the previous average was. That way we can know for sure. For diet-wise, diet's been fairly good. I've mostly been, one of the things that I've really started doing is I've taken some cooking appliances and stuff to my job, which we're kind of able to do as long as it's not in the way, so that's perfectly fine. And I'm cooking meals there as well. So one of my biggest problems has been trying to have meal prep, and then usually my trips in between from like karate straight going to work, which is typically what it is. Things happen within the brain that says, good food is overrated. Eat all the things. So this is a way to kind of help me. The food is already at my work. The cooking stuff is already at my work. Literally all I have to do is either take it out of the packaging, do a little seasoning, stuff like that, and then cook it and then eat it. So I'm mostly streamlining as much as I can when I can. Not breaking any rules, anything like that. My job allows it, so it's perfectly fine as long as we do the job correct. So what exactly we're going to be doing for the next update? For the next update, the stepping and punching that we're working on, I'm moving from doing it just straight to air and now going to the light heavy bag that we have. That way now I encounter just a little bit of resistance, not too much to where my body starts doing weird things in preparation for that impact or resistance, but it is light enough to where I can just kind of go through and just blast through it, but I still get pressures, especially with doing the air punches and stuff. I noticed that I don't really hyperextend my arm. I've gotten past that. What I'm kind of doing actually is I'm like putting a whole lot of torque on my elbows. And if I do it really, really hard within a session, when it's just straight air punches, I really start to feel the strain. But by having just that little bit of a resistance can really help mitigate a lot of that while still allowing me to work the correct technique that I'm doing specifically for that punch. For the reverse punch stuff, I'll still kind of be doing it to where I'm just in front of the bag a little bit stationary, but I'll also start incorporating a little bit of kind of just going in and then putting a punch out. And now I have momentum or body movement going into it instead of just standing flat. For the kicks, I'm kind of debating on whether or not I just kind of keep the ending kick after the punch the same, or if I kind of slowly go out into the punch, and then when I make contact, then I go into the kick. I'm kind of debating which one I'll do. I'll kind of play with it a little bit for a couple of weeks and see which one I want to work on. Right now, I'm kind of leaning into just kind of keeping it the same, because there's a few things that are going when I go to do the transitions I'm not happy with, and I want to clean those up first. For exercises, I'll pretty much keep those all the same. One of the things I didn't mention is not only am I just lifting weights, but I'm also like walking in between each sets that I do. So one of the things I'll probably also do is incorporate a little bit of kettlebell swings with a 50-pound kettlebell that I'll have, and it's not a whole lot. I might do anywhere between 1 to 3 sets of 25 over the course of the whole workout. It kind of just depends on how well I'm feeling, because I'm mostly doing the weights and stuff after work in the early morning, so I kind of make sure that nothing's too tight or feel strained or anything. That way I don't injure myself. For food, I'm mostly going to be introducing better timed with my protein powders or protein intake. That way I don't feel lagging when I wake up and then come here to karate before classes and start, or after my morning workouts, get a dose of protein then, in order to try to help last me through when I sleep, and then on to the next day when I'm ready to eat on those really long days where I stay up a little bit later in the morning. And that's all I got for y'all. I'm Matic, and I'll catch y'all later.
Yo!